Google is about to change Android forever. These are the 66 organizations from 21 countries telling Google to back off from what may be the most consequential change to Android since its creation. Most Android users have no idea it's happening. Here's what's going down. Starting in September 2026, Google will require every developer who wants their app to run on a certified Android device to register with Google directly, verify their identity, and submit to Google's approval. Not just developers who publish on the Google Play Store, every single developer. Whether you distribute through Samsung's Galaxy Store, the Epic Games Store, through the community repository f-droid, or by simply offering a download link on your own website. If your app hasn't been registered with Google, it won't install. Android controls nearly 73% of the global mobile operating system market. That's roughly 3.9 billion active devices. Google is about to decide who gets to put software on them. To understand why this matters, you need to understand what made Android different in the first place. When Google launched Android, it was built on a promise of openness. Unlike Apple's iOS, which has always controlled what software users can install, Android lets you choose. You could get apps from the Play Store, sure, but you could also download them directly from a developer's website, install them from alternative stores, or build and share your own software with no one's permission required. That openness attracted a massive community of developers, privacy advocates, and entire organizations who built tools outside of Google's ecosystem. Apps like those on f-droid, the open source app repository, or privacy tools from the Guardian project, or secure communication platforms thrive precisely because Android didn't require a corporate gatekeeper. Now, Google wants to change that, and their reasoning sounds perfectly sensible on the surface. Google says the Android ecosystem has a malware problem. Their own analysis claims that they found over 90 times more malware from sideloaded sources than from the Play Store. Attacks on Android users rose 29% in the first half of 2025 compared to the same period the year before. Financial fraud through fake apps is surging, especially in countries like Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand, which explains why those are the first countries where enforcement begins. This is despite Google Play Protect already scanning sideloaded applications for malware. Google's pitch is simple. Think of it like an ID check at the airport. It confirms the traveler's identity, but stays separate from screening their bags. Samir Samat, president of the Android ecosystem, has stated plainly that sideloading is fundamental to Android and it's not going anywhere. Google just wants to know who's making the apps.
The amazing experiences you've already built are more discoverable now on more devices in ways we can only begin to imagine. Let's continue to shape this next generation of Android together. Tune into I/O next week to find out how we're pushing the boundaries of how and where you build your Android apps. It's gonna be good.
But here's where the argument starts to crack. The coalition opposing this plan, organized through a campaign called Keep Android Open, points out something crucial. Google Play itself has repeatedly hosted malware. In late 2025, researchers at Zscaler found 239 malicious apps on the Google Play Store that had collectively been downloaded 42 million times. Developer verification has been a requirement for the Play Store since 2023. It didn't stop those apps from getting through. As Kaspersky noted, the step isn't a silver bullet. Malware continues to infiltrate even the Google Play Store, where developer verification has long been in effect. So if verification doesn't reliably stop malware on Google's own store, why extend it to the entire Android ecosystem? The open letter, published on February 24th, 2026, was addressed directly to Sundar Pichai, Sergey Brin, Larry Page, and Vijaya Kaza, Google's General Manager for App and Ecosystem Trust. The signatories include the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the Free Software Foundation, Proton AG, the Tor Project, KDE, Lineage OS, Nextcloud, the Chaos Computer Club, Vivaldi, the GNOME Foundation, European Digital Rights, and dozens more. Their argument cuts to something deeper than malware statistics. Developers who choose not to use Google's services shouldn't be forced to register with and submit to the judgment of Google. That's a direct quote from the letter. The concerns break down into several categories. First, privacy. The registration process creates a comprehensive database of every Android developer on Earth. Proton AG argues this creates centralized identity databases that represent high-value targets for state surveillance. For activists building tools in countries that criminalize dissent, registering your real identity with a corporation that operates under the legal jurisdiction of multiple governments is an incredibly dangerous idea. Second, barriers to entry. Full distribution account costs $25 and requires government identification. Organizations need a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet, a process that could take up to 28 days. Google does offer a limited distribution account with no fee, but it restricts you to 20 devices. If you're a volunteer project serving a community of thousands, that's meaningless. Third, and this should concern everyone, precedent. As the EFF puts it, when you set up a gate, you invite authorities to use it to block things they don't like. The EFF calls the app gatekeeping, an ever-expanding pathway to internet censorship. Nextcloud's response was even more direct, unilaterally consolidating power to approve software into the hands of a single, unaccountable corporation is a threat to digital sovereignty everywhere. Now, Google anticipated some of this criticism. They announced an advanced flow for power users, a way to bypass the standard process for people who know what they're doing. The Keep Android Open campaign initially saw this as a partial victory, but then the details emerged. The advanced flow requires 9 separate steps and includes a mandatory 24-hour cooling off period just to install software on a device you own. Worse, the entire process runs through Google Play services, not the Android operating system itself. If your device doesn't have Google Play services, you're out of luck. There's a revealing story from FOSDEM, the major European free software conference, in early 2026. f-droid representatives, talking to users, were baffled to discover that most people believe Google had cancelled these plans. They hadn't. The confusion likely stemmed from coverage of Google's initial concessions, which were misinterpreted as a reversal. The plans announced in August 2025 are still on track. A board member of f-droid and one of the 2 main contributors to the Keep Android Open campaign has said that over 90 to 95% of people he's spoken with are somewhere between concerned and outraged. He's been in contact with Brazilian regulators and US antitrust officials in 4 different states. The campaign has filled complaints with competition authorities in more than 20 jurisdictions, including the European Commission's Digital Markets Act team, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, and the US Federal Trade Commission. Here's what this policy doesn't affect. Custom Android builds like Lineage OS and Graphene OS are exempt, because they're not certified Android devices built on the Android open source project. Enterprise managed devices using mobile device management systems are also exempt indefinitely, as MDM already provides corporate app verification. So corporations get a pass, governments get a pass. It's the individual developers and community projects that bear the burden. And then there's the language itself. f-droid's response highlighted something subtle but important. The term sideload was coined to suggest something illicit, as if installing software from outside a corporate store is inherently suspicious. Putting software on your computer is simply called installing, regardless of whether that computer is in your pocket or on your desk. That reframing matters because what Google is proposing isn't protecting users from danger. Let's look at what Google as a company is doing with data. Google's massive data collection makes it a prime target for state-sponsored hackers and cybercriminals. In 2024, researchers found that search histories were being sold to third parties for as little as 50 cents per user profile. All the things they collect build a profile that data brokers are eager to buy and sell. In August 2024, Judge Amit Mehta delivered an important ruling. In a 277-page opinion, he declared that Google is a monopolist and has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. The case revealed that Google pays Apple an estimated $20 billion annually just to remain the default search engine on iPhones and Safari. $20 billion a year just to make sure you never even think about using something else. In April 2025, a second judge found Google liable for monopolizing ad tech markets. Texas reached a $1.37 billion settlement, and in September 2025, Judge Mehta imposed a 6-year ban on those executives' default search contracts. Now, they will control Android. The enforcement timeline is already in motion. Verification opened for all developers in March 2026. The Android Developer Verifier System service launched in April. Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand face mandatory compliance by September 30th, 2026. Global expansion follows in 2027. This story is still unfolding. Regulatory bodies across multiple continents are reviewing complaints. Google, for its part, insists it's listening. But the infrastructure for control is being built right now, and once it's in place, it rarely gets dismantled. Cory Doctorow has started calling it Darth Android. Obtainium's developer told The Verge, it amounts to an effective ban on general-purpose mobile computing worldwide. Whether you think that's a hyperbole or prophecy probably depends on how much you trust a single company to decide what software you're allowed to run on the device in your pocket. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it would mean the world to me if you like the video and subscribe. I make videos about everything ranging from cyber criminals to government-backed hackers, all the way into deep web investigations and ethical hacking tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.